Hey, everybody. Welcome to Sexual Health and Wellness Tips with Vicki and Amber. Thank you so much for joining us again. I am Vicki.
And I'm Amber.
So today we're actually going to talk about the importance of feeling safe enough in your relationship to communicate your desires and your needs with a partner. So this is a little heavy.
It is a little heavy, and it doesn't necessarily need to be about the bedroom. It can be outside the bedroom too, right?
Oh, that's a really good point.
Mhm.
I'm like, I was just thinking about it in the bedroom. I think that is a really good point, and I think that one of the things that we have to do in our relationships is that we start those conversations outside of the bedroom, regardless of if they are an inside of the bedroom conversation or not. And when we are in the moment, it's really hard to effectively communicate our desires and our needs um, in any kind of vulnerable way when we're kind of in the moment. So I think that when we take that conversation outside of it first, decide how that conversation is going to look, design that for you and your partner, and then take it into the bedroom if that's where that conversation was headed is a really important piece.
And one of my favorite places to have a conversation is in the car. When we're
You
alone in the
know,
car, that's one of my favorite spots to just like not hash out, but like just have those open communications because we're not doing anything else. We're just sitting there.
also, there is a little bit of a lack of eye contact. So if you're feeling really vulnerable in that moment, your partner can be receiving that information, but one of you is focusing on the driving. So there isn't a lot of that. And then you can stop when you feel confident, comfortable, and then continue to have that conversation in a face-to-face, one-on-one, super connected way. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying that might be a great way to broach a topic.
Yeah, absolutely. And if they're not feeling it in that moment, I think you have to respect that with your partner and just, okay, when can we retable this? Because it's really important to me that I need to talk to you about this. And I would like for us to both have this conversation and just make sure that you can retable that communication with them.
Yeah. So Amber, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do if your partner does not want to participate in that kind of conversation?
I'm just making it, I like to let my partner know that it's a very important thing for me and that I would really respect if they would like take a moment to have that time with me in that conversation with me. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to like jump full force into it, but I need them to hear me. And I think
Yeah.
that that's really important and just validate that what I'm saying
Yes.
is they're receiving it.
Yeah. And I think that bridge of that communication is super important. I think that there are a lot of people who have partnerships where one wants to talk about all the things and the other person is like, can we just do the things? Right. And if there is a disparity in that energy, I think that that's where you may need to reach out for some help on communication. You're going to have to work on that. That's going to have to be something that is paramount and important to both of you in order to bridge that gap. Otherwise, what happens is those pieces are just going to kind of sit dormant, and those pieces inside of you are going to feel really empty. And I think that that communication piece is going to be really super important, and that speaks to feeling safe inside your relationship and safe enough to open up and have those conversations and know that you're going to be received in a way that is respected and loving.
Yeah, and know their boundaries too. I think it is important because I know, like with my husband, I had to really learn that I can't. When I'm ready to talk, I like let's talk, let's hash it out, and let's be done with it about anything, whether it's about what's happening in the bedroom, whether it's about an issue we had. It doesn't matter what it was, but if he wasn't ready, that he wasn't ready, and that was his. He needed time to kind of process
Yeah.
and then we'd come back to it. But it took me a while, but I know now we're going to come back to it. It's just
Yeah,
going to be a
because
little bit later.
as women, we've probably been thinking about this for a really long time,
Right? Yeah.
right? So when we broach the topic and we bring it to the surface, it's already been in here for a while. We're kind of surprising them with a conversation that we've been having internally for some time. So yeah, we need to give them a minute to catch up. And but you need to be in a partnership where the other person is willing to have that conversation, willing to pros and cons it with you, make the list, see where that fits for you guys, and then decide. Now, what are some of the things that can, of course, stop people from wanting to have those conversations. I mean, there's so many reasons why somebody might be like, whoa, no, we do this, we don't talk about it.
I think it could be past trauma. You know, if you've ever been affected by any kind of trauma that has a relationship to that particular topic or that event, you might not be talking about it. Like
Yeah.
it's a red, absolutely no go topic.
Yeah. And sometimes your trauma could just have been around conversation and a conversation not being received or gone well, or anger management or whatever. It doesn't even have to be about that topic itself. It could be about the fact that you're trying to communicate, period.
Yeah, absolutely,
Right?
absolutely. And I think in a long-term relationship, maybe you've been with your partner for a really long time, you've learned to like ebb and flow with whatever is happening in your relationship or broaching a new topic. But what happens when you're starting fresh? We might be have a lot of single people listening. Like, where are we
Yeah.
going from here?
Well, I think that that's kind of like a new shoe in blackjack. I feel like that is a new lease on life, and that's an opportunity for you to design your life. And I want to do this. I want to talk about designing your life in another segment one day, Amber. But I think that that is your opportunity to decide what you're going to allow in your life and what you're not going to allow, what you're willing to have, even though it's not really on the top of your list, and what that communication style is going to look like. And it's going to be really easy to decide who you give your time and your energy to in a new relationship. So I think that's kind of the exciting part. And it's kind of where I am in my life right now. So it's strange and it's exciting and it's a gift. And I think that people need to really look at that and go, how do I want my life to look? What do I need my communication style to look like? And what do I need from a partnership in order to support me in that? And that just means that you're going to weed through people pretty quickly because there are going to be people who aren't going to meet your needs and aren't going to want to. And then there are going to be people who are going to be willing to at least have the conversation. And I think that part right there, if you find a communicator, mine.
Hook, line, sinker, done.
That's right. Totally.
And I
Awesome.
mean, so we're talking about like communication desires and your needs. So let's go into the bedroom aspect of it. And I decide I desire something different. You know, like we've done the same thing over and over for 10 years, and I desire something different. And touching on that topic when you know maybe your partner might not be as perceptive as you.
Yeah, yeah. And you're right. How somebody receives that conversation is theirs to own, first of all. And something that I've recently learned is that broaching a topic or a conflict, which could potentially be a conflict, which is, and I don't mean conflict in a negative way, but just a conflict in I have a concern or I have a need that's not being met, and we need to kind of figure this out. A lot of times a partner can receive that as an opportunity for an argument, a fight, whereas we're looking at it as an approach to something new and fun and different. So that's sort of where, you know, especially men and women can kind of receive things differently. So I just think that's really important is your approach, and that you're coming from a place of care and concern, and you make sure that person knows that this isn't a deal breaker. I'm just telling you that I have some other thoughts and ideas, and I'd like to run them past you, like to see what, you know, might feel like it's in your wheelhouse or may feel like, ooh, I don't know if I could do that, but I'm willing to try. And then no, I can't do that. So but again, that just goes right back to communication, which I think is so
Yeah.
freaking sexy.
And I think it's crucial to not disregard what you've had the past however many times you've been with your partner or years you've been with your partner. Like, I'm not disregarding what we have. I think it's fantastic. I just think that we could add this
Right. I'm
into,
shopping.
you know,
This looks nice.
right?
Totally, totally. Yeah, I agree. I think that if you are with a conversationalist and you have somebody who you can feel safe enough to open up that conversation, it doesn't mean that it's going to be checked off on the list of to-dos. It just means that you're in a space where you feel comfortable, you're having the conversation, and that's a couple that's in it for the long haul, and I love that.
And if you have somebody who's not really open to communicating, you might just need to drop it a few times to
Yeah.
kind of get their mind going, like, oh. you know?
Oh, she's kind of serious about this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe I will have that conversation.
Yeah, and there's no reason why you can't table something and revisit it again later. I mean, that's absolutely the way communication works. Hey, you know what? I'm not ready for that in this minute. Can I think about that and come back to you? Right? Like that's all I'm asking for is, just tell me what you're thinking and tell me what's a possibility and what's not. And if we are in it for the long haul, that's a lot of years, Amber, right? Like we're not talking about a little bit of time. We're talking about the rest of our lives. And what we like today doesn't have to be what we like tomorrow. And you need to be with somebody who's okay with that. And you need to be okay with that if your partner is feeling that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.